So 2 days ago, I released a video saying that the Milwaukee Bucks were going to come back from being down 3-1 to beat the Miami Heat. Following that video, the Milwaukee Bucks decided to get outscored 42-24 in the fourth quarter and overtime in Game 5 to lose to Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat in 5. Happened 24 hours ago from the time that I'm recording this, and I still can't believe it. I want to sit here and say that the Bucks are better, but they got beat 4-1, so I can't say that. Which is just, ugh. Jimmy Butler's amazing. Let's just start there, right? Goes crazy in Game 4. I went into all that in the last video. If you want to hear me talk about the 56 he scored in Game 4, you can go back to the old video. Then he comes out on the road and he scores 42. And down the stretch, he once again, one-on-one with Jrue Holiday. He just went and scored whenever he wanted. I mean, it was incredible. And now the East is just insane. The Celtics game is about to tip off. They could be going to 7 with the Hawks. They got to go on the road to take on the Hawks. I mean, it's going to be tough to go on the road and beat Trae Young, especially with the way he's been playing these past few games. The 76ers, sweep the Nets. The Knicks are now going to play the Heat. They're the 5 seed. Like, the Knicks could very easily play for the Eastern Conference Finals. The Miami Heat, the 8 seed, could very easily play for the Eastern Conference Finals. And look, they've been awesome. Eric Spoelstra just coached circles around Bud in that series. Why he didn't call a timeout to advance the ball and get the ball out of Grayson Allen's hands, I do not know. But it's going to be really interesting to see what Milwaukee does because they're getting older. Chris Middleton's, going to be 33, 34. He's getting older. He wasn't exactly great. He's not as good of a defender as he used to be, and that was part of the draw to him. He didn't play particularly well. Jrue Holiday didn't play well. He didn't shoot the basketball well at all this entire series. Really, the only other guy outside of Giannis that consistently played well was Brook Lopez. That's it. Everybody else was up and down. And meanwhile, the Heat, it was a different role player every game. Duncan Robinson had a game. Caleb Martin had a game. Bam Adebayo was good in Game 5, I thought. They just, to go from barely making the tournament, barely making the playoffs, because they very easily could have lost to the Bulls, to go from barely making the playoffs to beating the Bucks in 5. I don't know if it says more about Milwaukee or Miami. I like to think that it says more about Milwaukee because they're the ones who messed up here. And, for the rest of the video, I want to talk about the insane words that came out of Giannis' mouth. Basically saying that the season wasn't a failure. That's wrong. The season is a failure. You're the 1 seed. Best record in the NBA. And you get beaten 5 games by the 8 seed. I don't care that Giannis is hurt. I don't care that he missed a game. It doesn't matter. Talent-wise, this Bucks team, talent-wise, is better than Miami, with or without Giannis. And they lost in 5. Giannis also says in his press conference that there is, quote, no such thing as failure in sports. And he brings up Michael Jordan. He's like, Michael Jordan won 6 championships in 15 years with the other 9 years of failure. The reporter just sits there, doesn't say anything. But the answer is yes. All those times Michael Jordan couldn't beat the Pistons, that's a failure. The time that Michael Jordan gets beat in the first round by the Celtics, even though he scores 63 points and people were like, oh, wow, this Michael Jordan kid's really good, that's a failure. Okay, this is the hard truth about sports. There's only one team that succeeds every year. Okay, there were 14 teams that failed to make the playoffs this year in the NBA. Of the 16 teams that made the playoffs, 15 of them will fail because they won't win the NBA title. That's why you play the game. You play the game to win and to win titles. That's the entire goal. You go up and down every single roster in every single sport, unless you're talking to Aaron Rodgers. And you ask him, hey, do you want personal success or do you want to win a title? Every single guy is going to tell you They want to win a title because that's the goal of sports. And if you do not do that, especially when you are the number 1 overall seed, one of the favorites, the team with the best record in the NBA, if you get to the Eastern Conference Finals and you lose, it's considered a failure. You get bounced in the first round in 5 games to the 8th seed, it is definitely a failure. Definitely a failure. I still can't believe that the Bucks did that. Tip of the cap to the Miami Heat, to Jimmy Butler. I'm excited to see what they do for the rest of the playoffs. The Eastern Conference has been wild. It's only going to get better. So, cannot wait to see what happens next. The Celtics are 1 away tonight from solidifying the second round of the Eastern Conference. Game 6s for the Lakers and the Warriors coming up. Cannot wait. The NBA playoffs are wild. I hope you've been tuning in. Subscribe, because we're following all of it here on Shooting the Shmitt.